In video games, nothing can be said to be certain except death and, well, mostly just death. Death as a consequence of failure has been a part of games since forever, and has stayed pretty much the same. A game over screen, a continue prompt, and then you begin again as if nothing happened. That said, some games break the mold by choosing not to ignore the fact that you were just a corpse a moment ago, opting instead to weave the reason for your resurrection into the gameplay. I'm Lucas Sullivan, Senior Editor at GamesRadar Plus, and here are 6 creative workarounds for death that can genuinely enhance your playing experience. You told the story wrong. We all know how it goes when you tell your friends some incredible personal story. You fudge the details and forget things, so you sometimes have to back up and correct yourself. Most of us stop short of claiming we died during our travels, but video game protagonists have a habit of trading in extremes. When they describe their adventures after the fact, they'll detail their own demise before remembering that, oh wait, they're very much alive, and none of that actually happened. Being able to explain away death as over-enthusiastic storytelling is a close cousin of the standard revert-to-checkpoint approach, but one thing makes it stand out: its sense of humor. You get to feel like you're in on the joke, and hearing how the protagonist explains away their mistake can be worth the failure. It can even seem logical if the wording is careful enough. You're cloned on the fly. At some point, mankind will hammer out all the ethical and biological ramifications of cloning and start the mass production of personal body copies. Now you can get clones like snacks out of a vending machine, which is convenient when your job involves being repeatedly destroyed by enemies who want to nail you into the ground like a tent spike. This clone-tastic brand of death dodging works best in games that are meant to be challenging, but also aim to create a certain feeling of bloody attrition around each fight. For instance, the most satisfying conclusion to a Big Daddy battle in BioShock is watching one of those giant monsters collapse after throwing everything you have at it, which doesn't work as well if you have to completely restart the fight every time it kills you. Having another you waiting in the wings keeps the combat intense even after you've died. You're cursed with immortality. Given that you do technically come back to life time and time again, immortality may seem like the laziest possible explanation if nothing more is done with it. Thankfully, the games that use this concept best avoid that by making immortality an even bigger part of the game. The immortality method takes some serious commitment from the game to avoid looking like a cop-out. For example, Dark Souls makes you an undead out to destroy the source of your own reanimation. By planting the concept deep in their world lore, unending life becomes as much a part of the plot as it is a gameplay device. It never feels like there's an unnatural break when the protagonist dies, because it falls perfectly in line with the story. Your town has a damn good hospital. There's no real way to play this one straight, but that's half the fun. Regardless of what sort of damage your character is subjected to, maybe falling from a 10-story building, getting run over by a car, crashing an aircraft into a bridge and succumbing to the resulting inferno, nothing actually seems to kill them. Instead, after the loading screen comes and goes, they trot out of the nearest hospital, with nothing to indicate their misadventure except a slightly lighter wallet. The absurdity of it all is part of its appeal. It's the game giving you a wink and a nod over your unfortunate and likely stupid demise. You have a deal with the devil, God, the Grim Reaper, etc. It's good to have friends in high places, or low ones depending on your perspective. While the hero may not have a supply of body copies on hand, they do have a patron deity who's interested in keeping them alive. That means whenever they bite it, their connection to those divine beings is what raises them from the dead, just in time to charge back into the fight and send their enemies into cardiac arrest. This one can both be taken seriously or played for laughs, based on how the game frames the situation. The ethereal traveler in Destiny is taken very seriously, so it's a matter of grave importance when its power is used to raise a fallen guardian. Same goes for 2 Human, where you're resurrected by Valkyries. Meanwhile, in Conker's Bad Fur Day, a drunken squirrel makes a deal with the Grim Reaper to pay for new lives with severed squirrel tails, which we can all agree is ridiculous. You're a robot or a projection. We're getting downright Descartesian here, where death aversion is based on the idea that you have no physical form to kill. Whether that's because you're a robot or projecting yourself into a digital or mental world, the result is the same. You get an infinite amount of lives because dying kills the image of you, not your essence. deep, man. While that may seem like a simple way to wave off in-game death, it takes some serious legwork to implement it into any game with a hint of a story. Portal's co-op mode gets away with it because the robot buddies are just there to facilitate you shooting holes in the wall. But something like the Talos Principle has to explain why you need so many bodies to accomplish your objective. When done right, your mechanical immortality can open up interesting questions, like why you keep being rebuilt in order to reach your goal. Do you have a personal favorite among these clever, unconventional explanations for respawning? Let us know in the comments below. And for more videos like this one, be sure to go to youtube.com/gamesradar.